I'm going to talk politics, I guess, for a little bit. Yesterday, Donald Trump threatened to slap 100% new tariffs on Canadian goods because, as far as I know, he didn't like that Mark Carney got a standing applause at Davos for the speech that he made. I don't know. I'm not in the business of caring a lot about what Donald Trump has to say or what Mark Carney has to say at Davos. I think there's bigger things to care about. But it does sort of raise the issue of independence and uncertainty. If nothing else, what Carney is saying and what Donald Trump is very clearly demonstrating is that, well, we can't depend on the United States anymore. We shouldn't be as dependent on them as we are. And I guess that is one reason among many why I'm thinking that we need to have a serious conversation about how our economy works, how Canada's economy can function, and how we can rebuild it from scratch without being dependent on the United States. I'm hoping to talk on my tour about that. But I also have been looking as well, what can I do about this? And I guess I've kind of joined the the American boycott. And I've been looking at building a website so that I can send a podcast of my tour out to all of you. And that means relying on web hosting. And it's shocking how much cheaper, I guess, all of the web hosting and something like Cloudflare, a content delivery network. This is all jargon. If you don't run a website, you don't have to know about any about it. But suffice to say, building a website in Canada on Canadian services is, it's going to cost a lot because we don't have the same scale of build out that all the American companies do. But I've found a Canadian web host. I've been using a Canadian web host since 2021, and they have a CDN, and I guess despite the fact that they're several times more expensive for what you get, it's still not a huge expense in the grand scheme of things, at least right now. So I'm going with Canadian web hosting and Canadian cloud hosting, and that's one thing I can do. The other thing that I kind of have realized that I should be doing is I'm going back to cash. I've had to set up a credit card processor for accepting donations for the tour and payments. And it's a reminder that credit cards take 2.8-ish% of every transaction. It's essentially a private tax on all of our commerce. Not to say that they don't have to spend a certain amount to keep the network going and all that, but the Canadian Payment Processing Network is Interac, and they charge 0.9%, so certainly I don't think they need to spend all of that. And even a 1%, 1.5% markup on basically all of credit card commerce is a hell of a lot of money, and most of it is going to Visa Mastercard, which are American payment processors. So yeah, if I'm looking at buying Canadian or not buying American, well, I'm going to try going back to cash. And I feel like it's not going to be perfect. I'm not throwing out my credit card. It's hard to function without one these days, but I can certainly carry cash on me, and I can certainly save the businesses that I'm spending my cash at. I can save them that 2.8%, which doesn't sound like much, but it helps. It stays in the Canadian economy, and the 2.8% credit card tax does not. So, these are the kinds of conversations, things I hope to be talking about while I'm on tour. Two ways that I am trying to contribute better to the Canadian economy. And I guess it's a sign of the times that we're rebuilding independently.